topics by our distinguished speakers. First topic, Chaparan Pembelajaran Belajar Kejuruteraan Awam by Buan Manizawati. Second topic, the path for professional civil engineer by IR Dr. Mubarak. And the third topic, aspects of civil engineer in water, wastewater industry by TSIR Hanifa Muhammad. Please allow me to give a short introduction about the Civil and Environmental Engineering Department in UTP. The department is a dynamic department. We aspire to develop leaders in civil engineering industries with the firm belief and that knowledge without application is akin to a book that is never read. We take a great pride in developing and mentoring the engineers of tomorrow, harnessing their passion for learning. So the department has put together programs that not only focus on research and education, but most importantly, relevant to industry and develops skilled human capital. Today, the department is playing a key role in nurturing skills and competency of the future leaders in civil engineering domain. As a department, we continue to work on research problems in areas of national and international importance. These include offshore structures and deepwater technology, structural integrity and project management, decommissioning, geotechnical and geohazards, sustainable development and resources, carbon mitigation and green building materials, wastewater treatment and management, urban water security. In all of these areas and more, we have faculty members working at the forefront closely with the industry partners and the students and research staff who are producing outstanding research and technical directives to be used by the industry. The Civil and Environmental Engineering Department at UTP currently offers a few programs. For undergraduate program, Bachelor of Civil Engineering with honors. For postgraduate programs, Master in Offshore Engineering by coursework, Master in Civil Engineering by research, Master in Industrial Environmental Engineering by coursework, PhD in Civil Engineering by research. The Civil and Environmental Engineering Department, UTP, is a fully accredited department 6 years by the Engineering Accreditation Council, Malaysia, and also is a top 200 civil program worldwide as announced by QS World University Ranking 2020. Without further ado, I would like to officially open this forum with Bismillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I wish you all a fruitful discussion in this forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Basha, for the lovely speech. Without further ado, next I would like to invite our moderator for our forum today. But before I do so, I would like to share with everyone a little about him. Professor Dr. Samsul Rahman Muhammad Putih is a lecturer in the wastewater treatment sector. He graduated from UOM, which is University of Malaya, and University of Memphis with his bachelor's degree and master's degree PhD, respectively. He has been in UTP since 2002. Prior to that, he was in UITM. He is also active in the theatre scene with his theatre group Chrono Theatre Shop, TTS, as an actor, scriptwriter, and also director. He is also involved in various research in wastewater treatment and plans to commercialize his wastewater product in the near future. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, please welcome Dr. Samsul Rahman. Prof, unmute your mic.
Okay. Thank you, Arvin, for telling me to unmute my mic as well. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to everybody, and welcome to our forum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I'd like to welcome everybody to our Civil Engineering Forum. This is our first forum. We're going to have another forum next week. This week, we'll have the title of the forum as Civil Engineering Futures. All right. My name is Prof. Shah, and I will be your moderator for this evening. Before we move along to our first speaker for today, let me tell you about her background first. She is presently the Ketua Jabatan Diploma, Ketua Program Diploma. Okay, Program Diploma. InsyaAllah later will be Ketua Jabatan, ya. In the Civil Engineering Program at Polytechnic Sultan Haji Ahmad Shah ataupun Polisas, ya. Polisas. Polisas, and is located di Semambu. I tak pernah pergi Semambu ni. It's in Kuantan, Pahang. Jauh ke tidak?
Kat je.
Semambu ni jauh daripada Kuantan. How far is it?
About 10 kilometers.
Oh, 10 kilometers. Okay. Our speaker here, she teaches material engineering. She used to teach materials engineering, safety and health, engineering society, practical in concrete work, carpentry, brickwork, plumbing, as well as final year projects. She graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree in Civil Engineering, as well as Masters in Civil Engineering from UTM. Please welcome our speaker for today, Puan Manizawati Zainal Abidin. Puan Manizawati akan memberikan ucapan ataupun tentang the learning challenges of a civil engineering student. Cabaran-cabaran untuk pelajar-pelajar kejuruteraan awam ni, apa kecabarannya? Dipersilakan Puan Manizawati. Ya, boleh kan? Silakan.
Puan Manizawati, unmute your mic.
Masalah yang sama.
Okay, dengar ke?
Dengar, saya dengar.
Puan Manizawati, your mic is muted again.
Dengar ke? Dengar?
Sekarang dengar, Puan.
Sorry. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan selamat petang kepada tuan moderator kita, Prof. Shah, and our panel, IR Haji Hanifah and IR Dr. Mubarak. This is the first time dah saya nak online. Dan saya cakap dengan Prof. Shah, I very tiny in this forum, tapi tak apa, I just cubalah ya sebaik yang mungkin. Before I further about cabaran tentang student in civil engineering, saya nak introduce sedikit lah tentang diri saya. Okay, sebenarnya saya pun sebenarnya alumni Polisas. I was student in Polytechnic. Masa tu is a sijil kejuruteraan awam. And then I further to the diploma. And then saya kerja about 2 years in assistant quantity surveyor. And then selepas itu saya sambung degree. Habis degree saya kerja lagi as a project engineer until I got sampai je project manager about 11 years macam tu industri. Actually I join Polytechnic ni baru dalam 2009 macam tu. And it's about 11 years lah saya dah mengajar, and now I'm sebagai ketua program lah. So berbalik kepada topik kita hari ini, iaitu cabaran pelajar tentang civil engineering ni. Sebelum kita nak tahu student tu sebelum enter student tu masuk, maksud saya sebelum pelajar tu nak further ke semester 1, kedua, ketiga, kita selalu bertanya pada student, adakah jurusan yang diambil tu dia minat ke tak minat? Sebab kalau pelajar yang minat, dia tahu kursus ni macam mana. Tapi kalau pelajar tu tidak minat, kita kena encourage dia, kena open their minds what is civil engineering. Sebab kalau saya tanya student, our student yang lepas SPM, civil engineering dia orang blank, dia tak tahu apa-apa. So
Betul.
what we do selalunya, saya cakap dengan dia orang, civil engineering bila kita duduk dalam satu tempat, contoh dalam bilik ni, semua surrounding is about civil engineering. Cakap macam tu. And then baru dia orang tahu, oh rupanya dinding ke column, wall, slab tu semua is about civil engineering. Sebab bagi dia civil engineering tu macam just pergi site, panas, macam kita tengok drama tu kan. And then yang itu yang paling penting lah sebab kita kena motivate student what is civil engineering. So di Politeknik, Habitatory Politeknik lah, we have academic advisor yang mana selalu encourage student untuk motivate diorang tentang civil engineering. Sebab kalau kita tak guide diorang, semester 2 ke 3 diorang akan quit. Jadi rugi untuk pelajar yang dah masuk lama semester 2 dan ke atas dan diorang quit pada awal semester. Selain daripada itu, cabaran yang kedua yang paling penting adalah our curriculum. Dia mesti selari dengan our teknologi di industri. Selalunya kalau kurikulum kita tak selari dengan industri, bila dia orang graduate dan bekerja, pelajar dia agak ketinggalan. Jadi apa yang kita kena buat adalah kurikulum tu kena selari lah. Sebab sekarang pun kita nak mengejar IR 4.0 tapi tak adalah 100% tapi at least student alert about that. Apa itu IR 4.0 macam tu. Jadi untuk Politeknik, Jabatan JPKK dia ada dah mengubah kurikulum selarilah dengan supaya pelajar tu kalau dia nak sambung further study di mana-mana pun dia tahu kurikulum tu selari dengan maknanya tidaklah ketinggalan Politeknik di universiti macam tu. Okey. Selain pada tu saya nampak pelajar ni dia tidak tak boleh nak visualize apa itu civil engineering. Jadi apa yang kita buat selalunya adalah yang terbaik adalah kita invite industry come to our institution. So caranya adalah kita buat so dia bagi sharing knowledge ataupun make a seminar to the student supaya pelajar alert tentang what is civil engineering, the scope of the work and how the real things outside maksud di industri. Sebenarnya yang paling bagus adalah kita memanggil alumni masuk ke dalam our institution lah. Sebab alumni ni dia tahu the history, the chronology of the chronology of the institution lah, macam mana dia nak bertapak daripada first sem until dia graduate and then survive macam mana. Contoh kalau di Politeknik dia dapat diploma and then how dia nak survive ke degree and then kalau ada IR dia pergi IR macam itulah. The alumni is the best, maksudnya the best solution sebenarnya dia supaya budak nampak rupanya dari diploma boleh jadi macam ni, boleh jadi technician, boleh jadi so dia nampak clear about the occupation kat luar. Selain daripada tu yang zaman sekarang ni saya nampak pelajar ni agak lack of communication skill and writing skill. Memang saya nampak itulah cabaran pensyarah untuk memperbetul student cara penulisan, cara communication sebab ialah pelajar dia banyak bergantung pada media seperti dia own life, dia tak berkomunikasi dengan luar. Jadi selalunya pelajar ni bila kita minta dia present tu macam static aja, dia tidak ada macam two way communication yang betul real life macam tu. Jadi itu yang sebenarnya cabaran yang pensyarah di mana-mana saya rasa institusi pun sebenarnya dia mindset student tu kita kena betulkan lah. Okay. Rasanya itu sahaja.
Okay, terima kasih Puan Mariza. seperti yang Puan Maiza sebut tadi, minat pelajar itu sendiri, kadang-kadang pelajar itu tidak minat. Kita juga menghadapi masalah setengah student tu kadang-kadang mereka memilih kejuruan awam tu kerana dipaksa oleh mak bapa atau sebagainya. Bagaimana ke nak menarik minat pelajar tersebut? Nak suruh dia minat balik. Kadang-kadang ada juga student yang tak minat, tapi mereka berusaha juga dapat graduate walaupun mereka tak minat kan. Tapi nak timbulkan minat tu kan susah sikit.
Sebenarnya
Mute. Tak dengar. Okay, boleh.
okey. Dengar ke?
Ya, boleh dengar.
Okay. Sebenarnya nak menimbulkan minat ni memang susah lah. Saya akui. Tetapi itulah saya kata tadi. Sebenarnya di sini, di Politeknik, saya cakap di Politeknik lah. Apa yang kita terapkan adalah selalunya our academic advisor akan gain diorang. Sebab kita setiap minggu ada 1 jam seminggu untuk bertemu. Dan kita akan tackle student yang memang tak minat. Kita akan bawa kepada pensyarah yang lebih boleh motivate dia dan boleh gain dia.
Ada counselor ke? Counselling sesi juga?
Ada counselling, ada. Kita ada bawa. Tapi
samalah. Kami pun
saya ada case juga student yang memang tak minat. Dan apa yang kita buat adalah kita kena follow up student tu. Dan alhamdulillah dia dah pergi intern dan dah bekerja pun sekarang. Sebenarnya benda tu kena ada, maksudnya kena follow up by pensyarah yang lebih dekat dengan dia, ataupun yang lebih baik adalah academic advisor lah di sini.
Betul. Saya amat bersetuju kerana kami pun mempunyai program yang serupa, advisory role, mentor-mentee, berjumpa student setiap berkala lah, secara berkala. Satu lagi Puan ada highlight tentang alumni. Kami juga mempunyai perjumpaan dengan alumni setiap kali, setahun rasa 2-3 kali, perjumpaan dengan semua alumni, bawa family semua sekali, dengan bergaul dengan students lah. Juga kami jemput alumni untuk bagi talk, bagi ceramah tentang bidang-bidang ataupun pekerjaan yang telah mereka lalui. Tentang perubahan kurikulum ni, sejauh mana berkalanya tentang perubahan kurikulum di Polisas? Setiap 2 tahun ke 3 tahun ke?
Selalunya dalam 5 tahun macam 3 hingga 5 tahun kita akan bertukar.
Itu terpulang kepada akreditasi ke atau macam mana?
Dia tak, kurikulum ni sebenarnya kurikulum yang baru kita bina ni adalah kita baru di-accredit oleh ITEC kan, badan ITEC. So dia ada beberapa komen yang perlu kita ubah sesuai, dan daripada situ kita ubah kurikulum kita. Tapi selalunya dalam sela 3 hingga 5 tahun lah. Macam tu.
Kami juga mempunyai perubahan kurikulum 5 tahun, 4 tahun sekali. Kadang yang keuntungan pelajar-pelajar politeknik untuk pergi ke universiti apabila ada matching of the syllabus di diploma dan juga di tahap degree, kerana dia boleh mendapatkan kredit transfer. Kebanyakan student politeknik daripada politeknik ni ke UTP ni saya rasa about 30 kredit lah boleh transfer. Adakah politeknik melihat adakah pihak Puan melihat tentang kurikulum yang boleh ditransfer ke universiti bila menggubal kurikulum tersebut?
Memang kita kena melihat, sebab student, kita kena lihat pada student yang akan nak melanjutkan pelajaran. Dia bukan untuk kerja saja. Jadi masa penggumbalan memang kita akan buat maksudnya kemudahan untuk transfer kredit. Macam itulah.
Okey, terima kasih banyak-banyak Puan Maniza. Tapi saya ada satu soalan lagi selepas ini kepada Prof.
Okay.
Maniza.
Okay, boleh.
Okay, now for our second speaker for today. The second speaker is currently the Chief Operating Officer in Indah Water Consortium. Okay, IWK. Make sure all of you dah bayar Indah Water bill. Kalau tidak susah nanti . Okay, our speaker graduated BSc degree in civil engineering juga. Okay, we have all civil engineers saja hari ini from University of Glasgow, Scotland in 1985. Okay, and then he also received master's degree in environmental engineering. Okay, my area from Strathclyde University, UK in 1987. He has more than 38 years of experience in water and sewerage management and specializes in planning, operations, management of municipal infrastructure. Okay, without further ado, please welcome Prof. IRTS Haji Muhammad Hanifah Haji Abdul Hamid to deliver his speech on, the title of the speech will be The Aspects of Civil Engineering in Water and Wastewater Industry. Okay, water and wastewater industry, bukan construction. Okay, dipersilakan, Prof.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Shak, my good friend. Not seen you for quite some time now. Assalamualaikum, and a very good afternoon to everyone. Prof. Master, Engineer Mubarak, Puan Maniza, the MC for today, Arwin, and fellow students, and whoever is watching this panel discussion this afternoon. First of all, thank you very much for inviting me to share my experiences and also the aspects of civil engineering, which probably could be a guide for the students. And being civil engineer myself, I'm quite happy to talk on this noble profession. Civil engineering, why? I think if you look around, like just like Puan Maniza sebut tadi, if you look around, everything evolves around civil engineering. And I think if you are in civil and environmental engineering, it's even much better because the environment and the civil is together. So, so if you do a degree in civil and environmental engineering, you actually encompass the entire man, human, and also the environment. Dulu saya pun buat diploma juga di UTM, and their tagline was untuk Tuhan dan manusia.
Ya, betul. Ingat lagi.
Kerana Tuhan tu, dia tukar sikit. Tapi untuk Tuhan dan manusia is actually, you as a civil engineer, you actually contribute, to mankind and also the environment. But nowadays, you can see engineering is no longer a glamorous subject. If you ask most of the young students, many of them actually shy away from engineering because probably once they look at the work itself may not be so glamorous. You always are in the engine room. Maybe the remuneration is not so attractive. You can be an actor like Prof. Shak. You might be much more glamorous and attractive. So I think the last 5 years or so, I think that even the intakes in many of the universities, you can see the number of students enrolling into engineering is actually dropping.
Exactly.
So what will happen? Probably in 5 to 10 years' time. Probably in 10 years' time, there will be a big glut in engineering, in particular civil engineering. So those who actually start doing their engineering today, I think you have a very big market in time to come. And if you specialize, is even much better. So to demonstrate what I'm trying to say, I will share with you some slides. Let me see whether I can load it. Okay, can you see the slides? Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, you can see. Okay, so this is my title. Prof. Shak kata aspects of civil engineering, so I talk about prospects of civil engineering. prospects for civil engineers in the water and wastewater industry. And you can see in this slide, at the side there, I put a little bit uh, uh, animation on, the need for clean water and sanitation, which will elaborate further. And if you look at the next slide, like what I say, everything you look around, it's about engineering, and in particular civil engineering. Now, this picture actually depicts, the marvels of civil engineering. You can see an ancient town. I think everyone recognizes this. This is not the London Bridge, but it is in London. Tower Bridge, they call it. This was built in the, I don't know, maybe in the 14th century or so on. But the bridge still stands proudly crossing the Thames River. Everything is evolves civil engineering here. You look at the old town of New York here, everything is here on. They are fully concrete jungle. And this picture here, you see, you know, how civil engineers actually contributes towards the development, of nations. So civil engineering includes both internal and external. If you are inside a building, you can see, like I think what you mentioned is on the floor, the slabs, the structure, the pillars, the roof, it's all engineering. And for the township, this is a picture in Germany. You actually have to look at the infrastructure as well. The rivers, the drainage system, and so on. And if you look at our country here, these two pictures are from Kuala Lumpur. You can see how KL has evolved, from a quiet town into a beautiful city, and standing proud amongst the icons of many developed countries. And of course, this is a picture of a highway. The Prime Minister can decide to build highways. The accountant can actually also decide, make available the funding. The lawyers can put up all the regulations and so on. But it is the engineers who actually make these things a reality, including the doctors, for them to travel around using the highways from one hospital or from one place to another place. So you can see how important civil engineers are to community. And within engineers, if you look at the Royal Charter of Institute of Civil Engineers in the UK, civil engineering is defined as the art of directing the great sources of power in the nature for the use and convenience of mankind. So that whatever you do in civil engineering, you actually evolve the environment and also the mankind. And the branches of civil engineering actually uh, no, is very wide, from basic structures, buildings, uh, roads, bridges, tunnels, railways, dams, canals, airports, harbors, ports, water treatment plants, wastewater treatment plants, supply, sewage networks, drainage systems, and so on. So you can see the branches of civil engineering is so wide. You can decide to become a planner. You specialize in planning engineering. You can be a designer. You can be a constructor. You can be an environment specialist, and you can also be in the sales and marketing of civil engineering. And what I showed the earlier picture is actually evolves around buildings, but more importantly, at the background is the infrastructure and the utilities. Now, if you look at this picture, the power utilities, oil and gas, solar, wind, electric power, coal, nuclear, they cannot be there without the civil engineers being there. You know, for example, oil and gas, you want to build a platform in the ocean, in the sea, you require civil engineers to actually design the platforms, and you require them to actually construct the platforms in the middle of the sea. Likewise, the solar panels, the transmission towers, also requires civil engineers who actually design the structures, and the weight, the wind, and so on. You want to look for coal to do the underground tunneling and so on, you still require civil engineers. Nuclear power stations require civil engineers. If you look at the basic transportation, roads, highways, bridges, transit airports, ports, harbors, all requires civil engineers. Telecommunication, of course, you require civil engineers as well. Water is where I'm going to talk about today. Water, wastewater, dams, drainage also requires civil engineers. For example, wastewater from all buildings, whatever they generate, needs to be properly engineered, collected, and taken to a treatment plant to be treated. So all this involves civil engineering. So civil engineers in water and wastewater industry, opportunities and prospects. In the water side, you can talk about from the source planning, where the water actually comes from. That is where you build the dams. You also design for flood mitigation. There's a lot of hydraulics, hydrology involved in that. So that's why you study in your basic engineering degree, hydraulics, hydrology, fluid mechanics, and so on. Then you also talk about water supply and the drainage system. Whereas in the wastewater, you talk about the treatment, the reuse of wastewater, the collection, and also more importantly, currently the recovery of resources within the wastewater sector. So there's a big, wide scope, even in the small, narrow water sector, within a branch of civil engineering.
Prof, is that a picture of IWK plant?
Yes, this is a plant in Kuala Lumpur in Pantai. It serves in total 1.8 million population. We got the old plant and the new plant. This is the new Pantai Expressway. This is the railway line here. This is the old Pantai plant and the new Pantai plant. So you can see at the backdrop, the city of KL. Majority of the properties within the city of KL is all connected to these two plants. The design is about 1.8 million population equivalent. You can see the backdrop as far as your eyes can see. All the buildings are connected here. It used to be an oxidation pond, which was the technology 20 to 30 years before. But today, with the advancement, and this is where you blend with the environment. So your knowledge of planning is very important. How can you have an oxidation pond facing a huge, beautiful city? That's where engineers then design plants which actually, this plant is actually underground, and on the top the plant is underground, only the sludge facilities are above ground. By land area is about 17 hectares, only 5 hectares is above ground, the 12 hectares is below ground, the treatment plant. And on top we got futsal courts, we got badminton courts, basketball courts, international size football field, and a huge jogging track. So you can see now how engineers need to plan to design plants to actually blend with the environment. So if you put a oxidation pond here in 20 years to come, then you are actually not utilizing your knowledge to actually blend with the environment. Right. So if you look at the global scenario, today the world's population is close to about 7 billion human being. But the fact is, close to about 30% or 2.1 billion people globally still lack safe water at home. These are UNICEF and WHO figures. And you can see that many people still lack direct water supply, and 100 million people still take water direct from the source. That means from the river and so on. In terms of sanitation, out of the 7 billion population, 4.5 billion people globally do not have toilets at their home. This is very serious. They go for the communal toilets, and close to 600 million people still share a toilet. They do not have toilet in their own homes. So where is Malaysia? If you look at the global snapshot, in terms of coverage for sanitation, Malaysia is at par with USA, Canada, Japan, Australia. No? They are the green zone. You know, green zone have a coverage of more than 90%. So UTP offering this course and specializing in no, water and environment, you got a big global market to expand your expertise. I know your dean is from Iran, if I'm not mistaken. I think Iran also needs no, a certain level of export of these technologies, no, and knowledge in terms
From
of
Iraq.
wastewater. Sorry, Iraq. Sorry, yeah, Iraq. Iraq was one time the supreme. Now after the war, they are redeveloping. So of course, you need no expertise also in water and sanitation there. Now, if you look at the worldwide sustainability development goals, the SDG, they are divided into 17 goals. Economy, you have about 5 goals. In terms of society, linked to society, you got about 8 goals. And of course, on the environment, you got 4 key goals. Now, from the 4 key goals, one is very specific on water and sanitation. They call it the SDG 6, clean water and sanitation. Now, for this SDG, under the SDG is from 2015 up to 2030. The next 10 years, you got a global target of actually providing safe and affordable drinking water. Earlier, I shared a slide. Many people still do not have safe and affordable drinking water. Open defecation is still worldwide, still in the millions. So the target of SDG is to bring it out to almost nil. Eliminate open defecation. So you got another 10 years to do that. Improve water quality and the quality of treatment. Increase the water reusage. Implement integrated water resource management. Protect the water resources and the ecosystem. And of course, you've got a target to actually expand the water and sanitation support, basically capacity development, and also the support on local engagement and management. So you can see civil engineers fit into many of these areas, including the other SDGs as well.
So there's a
And
huge market there for civil
yeah,
engineers.
that's a huge market. So it's okay. People don't join civil engineering now at UTP or any other local universities, but the students who choose to join, you are
Yeah.
actually making the right decision, because in 10 years time there will be a big market for you, because you cannot find many civil engineers, and many current engineers like me will be retiring. So you need people to actually take over, and continue development, because development is continuous sehingga kiamat.
Yeah.
The engineering profession is also a noble profession. What more if you work in water and sanitation, it is bagian daripada fisabilillah. You contribute to the betterment of mankind and the environment.
Good.
So you can see there's a huge market for civil engineer. Now, what you teach in the university, for me, is not good enough for you to be a perfect engineer. So I would suggest, just now you talked about reviewing the syllabus and so on. I happen to be also a panel in many of the local universities, advisory panel of relooking at syllabus and so on. I think what perhaps the engineering fraternity lacks, which I like to share as well. Now, if you want to be an engineer, when you go into the real working world, if you lack leadership qualities, and then the engineers will become the second feeders, the accountants, the administrators, the PPDs, and so on, calls the decision. So this is where engineers actually is very crucial to teach leadership skills. Either you inherit through your own initiatives, or you facilitate. Part of facilitation can be industry attachment. In the university itself, you can actually teach some of the managerial skills, and so on. And also, I think very important, engineers always lose out. They have very poor financial skills. So I think in time to come, rather than looking at the steel, concrete, hydraulics and so on, I think finance should be made compulsory in engineering syllabus. Because if you don't know finance, you cannot design uh, facilities which are actually cost efficient, and for example, if you design a beam, you can design a beam of 1 meter depth. You can also design a beam of 100 depth using your engineering skills. So while you are taught to design, and now today you got a lot of software to do all the analysis. Those days when we study, we don't have all these softwares to actually back us up. So you have to do manual iteration. But today, if your financial is strong, then you can become a great engineer. So if you want to be a good engineer, you just do the basics. But if you want to be a great engineer, you need leadership and financial skills. You also need to know the law. So you have to actually understand the basics behind laws of contracts, laws of basic engineering, and of course the laws of the land, which is very, very important. So if you are going to work in Iraq, you need to know the land of the law. So you have to actually study the land of the law. And as an engineer, you can actually contribute uh, in the engineering aspect in accordance to the law of the land. Communication skill is very, very crucial. If you are a good engineer but you cannot communicate, sedih, you know. So I think Prof. Shak is a good communicator. That's why he's an actor. Can create changes and so on. So you have to have multi skills. So multitasking is actually very, very important. And of course, other skills. If you can think out of the box, you can have a good analytical skill. You are innovative, you are creative. That will actually help you. Because great engineers actually, you looked at the pictures which I showed earlier. The Tower Bridge. Those are actually out of the box thinking. You think of something, and today in Malaysia, you look at Petronas Tower. Of course, part of Petronas. UTP. Who will think in KL, you build that sort of tower. Today, someone have actually beaten the Petronas Tower. There's a Merdeka Tower under
Yeah.
construction, 118 stories. I'm proud to say my son is involved in the Merdeka Tower. He's also
Okay.
an engineer, and he's partly involved in the supervision of the construction of the Merdeka Tower. So the engineers evolve. Tomorrow there might be, for example, today you look at huge treatment plants. I show you a picture of just now treatment plant underground. But in time to come, in the city center, you cannot have large land. So you have to look at the technology itself. There's a lot of microbes in the wastewater technology.
Yeah,
Now,
slim down.
explore, how do you explore nanotech and biotech to be part of your knowledge skills to actually scale down? Because the engineering what you have today, I call it is still the Victorian technology. Now, Victorian technologies are technologies of the past, which involves a lot of resources, manpower. Uh, you talk about a lot of concrete, a lot of construction resources, and so on. The technology of today is, I think, is biotech and nanotech. So, as part of civil engineering, Prof. Chuck, I think you have to teach a little bit of biotech and some nanotech. So
Yeah.
they're not stuck with their civil engineering background. Hydraulics, you talk about designing treatment plant based on retention time. Of course, when you talk about retention time, the structures will be huge and it will be very expensive and costly. So in time to come, you talk about smaller scale plants. You utilize microbes to actually that's why today you got membrane technology, you got reverse
Yeah.
osmosis technologies and so on. And finally, the opportunities for civil engineers in the water and wastewater sector, you know,
There you go.
uh, it involves both technical and non-technical. Of course, technical, you can be in various aspects, including, involving in the pipeline, in the M&E, in the biological treatment sector. Now, you don't be surprised, civil engineers can also be involved in the non-technical aspects. For example, capacity development, human resources. Civil engineers can also talk about laws. You got today a lot of civil engineers who are actually arbitrators. They go to the court, they go to the arbitration center to actually argue loss of contract. They argue on contracts, they argue on many things. So there's many prospects, both technical and non-technical. Of course, civil engineers also can become ministers. Uh, Malaysia still do not have a prime minister who is a civil engineer, but Italy, Germany, and so on, they have engineers who are actually also prime ministers, So there's a lot of aspect. We have, for example, Dato Sri V. Kasyong. I think he's also a graduate of UTM. He's a civil engineer, and he's currently the Minister of Transport. So so there's a lot of prospects for civil engineers. Not to forget, like people like Dr. Shak, he can also be in theatre, but being a civil engineer, be an actor and so on. So
Pastime.
my last message to civil engineers: if you are going to be a civil engineer, sorry, I got one more slide. This is global outlook and opportunity for the water and sanitation sector. This is from the Global Water Intelligence. By 2050, 5 billion people will be water stressed. That is equivalent to about close to 70% of the world's population. So if you specialize on water today, I think there's a big global market in the future. Now, today, 80% of the wastewater comes not only from sewage, it comes from industries and so on. That's why you can see a lot of rivers being polluted, environment, water resource being depleted. 80% of the water, this is according to the United Nations statistics, is actually not treated. It goes straight to the environment, causing pollution. So there's a big market for engineers in the water and wastewater sector, and the market is, by 2023, it's about 1 trillion. 1 trillion is so many hundred times bigger than Petronas or Tenaga National. So it's a big market, out there. So if you want to become a civil engineer in the future, I believe you will never walk alone. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prof. It's a very mind-opening talk. I hope the audience will also opt for civil engineering, and especially water and wastewater engineering. Yeah? And okay, next, without further ado, our final speaker for today is a civil and environmental senior lecturer in UTP. He has graduated from civil engineering from UTM, and he holds a Master of Engineering in Structures at University of Melbourne, Australia, and has accomplished his PhD in civil engineering in UTP. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome IR Dr. Mubarak Wahab to speak about the path for a professional civil engineer. Okay, please welcome Dr. Mubarak.
All right. Thank you, Prof. Shak. And Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon to all the audience, respected Ayar Muhammad Hanifah, Wan Mazniwati, Zainal Abidin, and the other students and the audience of the session. Alhamdulillah, glad to be here to give some insights about civil engineering per se, as well as being a professional engineer and trying to give an advice to chase the profession, being a professional engineer in civil engineering. But the audience, I don't know whether the audience understands or not what is a professional engineering in the first place, and why one has to be a professional engineer, what is their functions, what is their setbacks, etc. So I would like to give an idea of what is this professional engineer. Before that, just to give a background introduction, all the degree graduates from universities, they are graduate engineers, and they have to register with the Board of Engineers Malaysia, BEM, to enable them to become a graduate engineer within 6 months of their practice. Practice means once they graduate, they have to join a company, or join a industry, or even academia as a researcher, as an postgraduate students, and so on. But within the time period of 6 months, they have to register with the Board of Engineers as a graduate engineer, and their time starts then as a practicing engineer. Doesn't matter they practice in a consultancy business or a construction industry or manufacturing, etc., whatever. And during my time, once you have registered as a graduate engineer and you have 6 years, you must practice 6 years, and within these 6 years, a minimum a year either in the construction industry or a consultancy industry. You must clock in 1 year minimum to enable you to sit for the professional engineer assessment exam, we call it. And so during my time, 6 years minimum, and after 6 years you are eligible to sit for the exam, and you will have to endure the exam. There will be two elements. One is written exam, another is an oral exam. So these two elements actually encompasses your experience in the industry. Let's say you were in a construction industry for, as I told you earlier, minimum 1 year in one of the industry. So let's say you were having a experience in the construction industry 5 years and 1 year in a consultancy industry. Vice versa, you have 5 years in a consultancy and 1 year in construction, for example. So your exams will be related to your industrial exposure, which area you were in, what you were doing. So before you set for the exam, you have to submit your experience log, what you have been doing and who has been supervising you. So when you start work, it's very important for you need to find a proper mentor who is directly into your line. If you are a civil engineer, you must find a mentor who's going to supervise you, who's going to advise you what is right, what is wrong, whether you are doing right thing or wrongly, and so on. So the mentor must be in the right right discipline, right domain, not necessarily in the same company. You might can have a mentor from different company, as long as he's a civil engineer, and he must be a professional engineer. So there's a requirement. So that was those days, okay. But nowadays, alhamdulillah, because our education system is getting evolved, and students nowadays are much more smarter, and they have a better exposure and experience in terms of technological exposure, technical exposure, and so on. Nowadays, in order for you to able to sit for the professional exam, minimum requirement 3 years. Once you clock in 3 years industrial exposure, you are eligible to sit for the exam. And these 3 years, similarly like before, you must have 2 years of either construction experience or 1 year of consultancy experience, or vice versa. So this is the minimum requirements. So in order for you to eligible to sit for the exam, then once you sit for the exam, similar like those days, you must put all your experiences in a log. And but nowadays, like those days, my time, we had two streams. You can choose a Board of Engineers stream, or you can choose another stream called IEM, Institutions of Engineers Malaysia. So we have two different streams. But nowadays we have three streams. Okay, so let me share some of my slide to give an idea about the things that I'm talking about. So I hope you guys can see. Can you guys see the slide? Prof. Shah, is the slide is visible?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So this is the talk title given to me, the path for a professional engineer. So I've been talking about for some time just now about what is a professional engineer, what is the path, and who are these professional engineers, why I need to be a professional engineer, etc. So these diagrams I purposely put here. Everyone thinks that civil engineering is all about construction work under the sun, like 3D works, dirty, dangerous, and things like that. But not really. Like from my experience point of view, I had some consultancy background, construction background, developer background, and I end up being a academician plus researcher, scholar, PhD scholar, And then I also provide consultancy services to the industry and so on. So civil engineering not only about construction, but that is obviously what people see. It is very obvious. You can see in a big site, construction site, and so on. But before people construct something, doesn't matter how small it is, how big it is, there are lots of due diligence being done. There will be some planning stages. There will be design stages. There will be feasibility study stages, all being done for 1 or 2 years. Then only the construction will take place. So, but general people, they don't aware of these, and they only see the physical works, the big ones, and so on. But to give an idea of those, I have put some figures here. You can see people brainstorm, think about the planning, the design process, conceptual design, and then comes to detailed design. They get all the construction drawing ready, submission materials ready, and they problem solve on the paper, in the design stage, on the design software, on the calculation analysis, etc., etc., before they go to the field and they start the physical works. Okay. All right. So this is the route that I was talking about just now. In order for a person to become a professional engineer, there are 3 routes. The first one is with the BEM, and the second one through the IEM. BEM is Board of Engineers. IEM is Institution of Engineers Malaysia. And then the third route is for those with an equivalent overseas professional or chartered engineer status. Now is a globalized world. We have people coming from different parts of the world coming to work in Malaysia, and we have engineers from different countries and so on. And some of those people are chartered engineers, having a professional engineer status, registration status from probably UK, US, Australia, Pakistan, etc., Indonesia. So these people, they can pass through this route, and they need to be assessed, and they will be if they're successful, they become professional engineer. All right. So if you are wondering what is Board of Engineers, or BEM, it is a regulatory body regulating the engineers, their works, their qualification, etc. Okay. So all engineers in Malaysia are regulated by REA, Registration of Engineers Act. It is an act, ACTA. It is a law, legal matter. It is controlling our activities, our what things we can do, what things we can't do, etc. And we engineers also are bound by code of conduct. There are certain rules we need to follow. We can do, we can't do, it's not appropriate to do, etc. So these things are developed, monitored, and regulated by Board of Engineers. Right. So each country, they have their board of engineers, US, America, UK, Singapore, and so on. So their role is to control, to govern the engineers, the engineering education, engineering bylaws, engineering practices. All right. What is practice? Practice is the act of doing engineering work, analysis, design, feasibility study, report writing, assessment, testing. All these things is a practice. Okay. So for anyone to be a practicing engineer, they must be a graduate engineer, means they have graduated from a degree qualification from an university, and and they also have to be a professional engineer. So professional engineer, for those seniors, those who have gone through the practice, and they have enough sufficient experience and exposure and knowledge, they are eligible to sit for the exam. Pass the exam, they become professional engineer. All right. In the university level, BEM also manages EAC, the Engineering Accreditation Council. They ensure our subjects, syllabus are prepared and adhering to all the laws, or all the proper knowledge and skills, right skills are implemented and imparted to the students and so on. So this is to enable the students who coming through this engineering education or degree education, they are qualified and they are fit to perform their tasks as an engineer. And UTP, especially like my department here in UTP, civil engineering department in UTP, Alhamdulillah, we are the among the or the one of the highly we got the highest accreditation. EAC came to visit us to accredit us to evaluate our program, the civil engineering program, and we obtained 6 years exemption. That is a very big achievement. No, not many universities, or I would say not any university in Malaysia has achieved this. So the program, our program, has fulfilled all the requirements, and it's very comprehensive with the knowledge, the subjects, the courses, the skills being imparted, the training has given, and our trainers, our lecturers, our technicians, our labs, all are in a very good condition, and the EAC, the BEM were very happy, and they have awarded UTP's Civil Engineering Department program a 6-year exemption. Okay, that's we are proud of, and it is all made possible by all our alumni, our students, our good work of our colleagues, our management, and the stakeholders. All right, just to show you the route to the professional engineer, I'm just showing one of the routes here through the BEM. So you can see here, these are the process, these are the procedures. In order for you or for a person to become a professional engineer, he has to go through an accredited engineering degree, and then they have to become a graduate engineer. So accredited degree is under the academic requirements. UTP or Civil Engineering Department in UTP, we are accredited and we get the exemption for 6 years. Is a flying colors. So we are very much to share this this achievement with all the future students, prospects, to join us to experience the program. And once we have completed our program is 1+4, means that 1 year foundation and 4 years of degree program for those who are coming from a SPM and SPM levels or O levels. For those, let's say we have Puan Mas from the Polytechnic, and for the sake of polytechnical students, our program, we are very much tailored towards supporting the polytechnic diploma holder students. So we have done some benchmarking with some of the diploma institutions, and we are able to offer 30 credit transfer. So this is a good news. So those who are coming from a diploma, they can enroll into the degree program. They can save time, they can save cost, and they can go through our exempted or accredited program, and they become a graduate engineer in a shorter period of time. And with the current turmoil, we have a lack of economic growth at the current this year due to this COVID-19 and all this pandemic. I think I would suggest, I would recommend those diploma holders just graduated and you have the inclination to continue studies and to join our program, to continue your degree program for 3 years or 3.5 years, and you will become a full-fledged engineer, as mentioned by our CEO of Indawater, IR Hanifa. The opportunity is very big. It's bright for those who are studying now and gonna enroll into or gonna join the industry in 3 to 4 years time from now. Why? Because one is uh, a lack of competition. You have less number of civil engineers being produced nowadays. So when you join now and you enroll and you go out later, less number of competition. That's number one. Number two, our country, we have set out the plan, Malaysia Development Plan for 2030, not only in our country, other countries, we have Asian region, Asian Growth Plan, and other countries are also having all these opportunities with the globalization and everything. Opportunities are plenty. and now we are shifting towards Industrial Revolution 4.0. This also open up many opportunities for engineers. We need to produce many equipments, many sensors, many tools requires engineers to be applied on many infrastructures. We're going to have smart structures, smart cities, autonomous vehicles, IoT in the construction. So this requires engineers, especially civil engineers, to get the infrastructure ready, to enroll or to get the infrastructure to roll out and to get full swing, right? So I would say this is the right moment for further study, degree, and in another 3 to 4 years time, you come out. The opportunities are it's very tremendous opportunity. Okay, so professional engineer after graduate engineer, now the requirement is 3 years of minimum 3 years of relevant experience with a logbook scheme. This logbook is the log you need to write down all your activities, and it's being monitored, mentored, supervised by a professional engineer, either from your respective firm or from other firms, but ensure similar discipline. And then once you fulfill this, you are eligible to sit for the exam. And sitting for the exam, we have professional assessment exam and conducted by IEM. And once you pass this, and you need to sit for another competency examination, then you pass this as well, you become professional engineer. You can have the title IR. IR stands for ingenieur in Greek language. And once you become a professional engineer, you have power. Okay, I'll show you in my next slide. All right, so talking about the relevancy of civil engineering degree, you can see all the plans. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. So these are the plans set up or put up by the governments and the Board of Engineers, Asian engineers. We have Asian Pact, Engineering Pact, and even the professional societies. The famous one is American Society of Civil Engineers, ASCE. You can try to visit this link down here. They have this publication on future world vision, infrastructure reimagined. This is for the future plan until 2025, 2030. These are the areas they're going to focus on: climate change, alternative energy, smart cities, high-tech construction, or advanced materials, and autonomous vehicles. These are the 5 areas AACE has earmarked to be developed and will be having a high demand in the coming future. So if you see all these five, I think there are a couple of them, but I have chosen these five because this is related to civil engineers. All these five got something to do with building, infrastructure, water, wastewater, like environment, etc. Okay, so please feel free to visit that website to read by yourself on the publication. So this slide is talking about the degree program offered by Universiti Teknologi Petronas in our civil engineering department, and we are not only offering degree. Those who have an inclination to continue your further education into your postgraduate level, we have masters by research, masters by coursework. Also, after masters, you can pursue your PhD. You can get your doctorate title. Okay, so in UTP, we have all these avenues. Okay, and why UTP? If you ask me why I'm sticking to UTP for the past 12, 13 years, because we have a well-rounded model, and we've been churning out graduates who are experiencing this model. We have good infrastructure, trained academicians. Our postgraduate system is very well tailored, and we have students from almost 60 countries around the world. And we have very good lab facilities. We have enrolled into new ways of teaching and learning. We call it like active learning, flipped classroom, problem-based learning, etc. And we have the unique industrial exposure in the whole Malaysia. Ours is the longest program, 7 months of industrial program, structured program industrial training. So these are the remarkable things that we have, which you should experience. If you want to be a good engineer, professional engineer, why you want to choose the normal? You have to choose the best, so that you can become among the best engineers. You can get a good network, and you can get a good exposure and experience to enable you to become a very good professional engineer. Okay, so this is to give an idea of our industrial internship program. We are very proud of this. We have the longest industrial program, tailored program, which is 7 months. Okay, tailored program. Why tailored program? We structure the program. We communicate with the industry. We want our students to go through these, and we monitor. We assess the students and the host company to enable or to ensure our criteria are meet or met. Okay, so these are our creams, our pride, our proud moments. Okay, so you can see our campus and our student experience. It is, I would say, it's a miniature of a world society. We have students coming in under attachment from many parts of the world, and our students also, we provide opportunities for them to go out to experience many part of the world, culture, many working environment, many different research institutions, many different industrial attachment, etc., etc. So these are important. Don't settle for less, choose the best. And some of the photos of our industrial attachment of our students, you can see in locally. This is an overseas attachment or industrial program in overseas, from west to east. Okay, it's all there. And I think IR Hanifa has touched why civil engineering is everywhere. I think one must also have touched civil engineering is everywhere. I would like to add, civil engineering discipline is among the oldest. You can see some of the photos here, from the Greek Colosseum to Viaduct, to the no to the pyramid in Egypt, and to the some of the earliest sewerage channels, drainage channels. It's very versatile. It grows together with the time, and it covers a vast domain: structure, geotechnical on the soil, earth, water, wastewater, materials, transportation. And civil engineering is the impetus for human civilization. That's why it's called civil engineering. The engineering discipline grows together with the civilization of human. Your needs changes. You want those days you want a pyramid, now you want a big condominium. You want skyscraper, you want fast car lane, you want a big dam. So it's a growing discipline. And I would say the future for civil engineers is very bright, because you see population grow. When population grow, people getting more and more, demand is growing. Demand for building, demand for infrastructure, the nation building. Our nation has to grow. We cannot have a growth stagnant or going down. The growth must be climbing up, going up. So when the growth going up, more development will take place. More development, more infrastructure required, more building required. So more civil engineers are required. So civil engineers are always in demand. But of course, economic cycle will be there. But demand is always in a growth trajectory. Okay, competitiveness. Competitiveness is required. For a nation to succeed, they must be competitive enough to succeed with the others. So for competitiveness to enhance, growth must be there, and it must be sustainable. And civil engineers are required to propel this growth and this sustainability. Okay, so it's not about new building, new infrastructure. How about maintaining the existing ones, refurbishing the existing one, rehabilitation, redevelopment of your housing, industry, commercial, township, land development, land development, existing land development, infrastructure, all require civil engineers. You talk about industry, a power plant. Power plant cannot be there for long. 30 years. After that, you need to scrap. You need to put up a new power plant. Commercial development. A new township comes, the old one gets less popular. So you need to redevelop, rehabilitate, require civil engineers from planning stage to design stage to construction stage to maintenance stage until the whole life cycle. So you can see the importance of civil engineers. I have put up here a slide on the civil engineer career. I think Ayar Hanifa has touched a little bit on the local council and municipality. I would like to add more. You have a job prospect in design office, builder, construction office, developer, land development, building development, authorities, JKR, JPS, water bodies, sewerage bodies, regulating bodies, board of engineers, IEM, local council, all the Majlis Daerah, Bandaraya, they require civil engineers because the engineers, we provide design, we prepare design, we need to submit the local council. So there must be an engineer working there to understand what we are provided, what we have submitted. Academic, teaching institution, nowadays we can see lots of colleges, universities coming up, require engineers to be an academic, scholars, master level, PhD level, researchers, research institutions, project management. You need project engineers, civil engineers who we expose our engineering students to project management, construction project management or overall project management. So project management requires civil engineers. Manufacturing, building materials, equipment, processes require civil engineers. Sales office of your building materials sales, equipment sales require civil engineers. So people can communicate. Oil and gas, to put up a platform, to maintain a platform, to put up a pipeline, civil engineers, structural engineers, pipeline engineers, soil engineers, geotechnical engineers. How to treat in the oil and gas platform, you cannot take the seawater and to drink. You must treat the water. So treatment is an environmental engineer, water resources engineer. So it's all under the civil engineering. But of course, in a degree program, you cannot get all the spectrum. Of course, you'll touch everything, but you don't go in depth. If you want to be specialist, you must further your studies to postgraduate levels, masters, PhD. Okay. Finally, enterprise. Civil engineers also end up become a contractors, general contractors, specialist contractors, and so on. So these are the opportunities, career opportunities for civil engineers. It's plenty. It's wide spectrum. It is not like some engineering, like only specialized in certain things. If the job market is down, that's it. You don't have job. But civil engineers, you can end up everywhere, anywhere. Okay, finally, on the professional engineer path, why someone have to go for this professional engineer status and path? It is a license to practice. You have this IR title, you can open up your own firm, you can practice, you can make your own design, you can make a submission. This will elevate your career prospect. You are not the thousands of people, you are among the hundreds of someone. Okay, you're less competition. So that's why all engineering students, we encourage to go for this professional engineer path. So in ETP, we we encourage and we ensure all our graduating students register with the board of engineers. We will do all the processes for them. So once they graduate, automatic they become a graduate engineer. After 3 years, they are eligible to go for professional engineer exam. And our UTP, we have a very strong alumni unit, helps these graduate engineers to always to motivate them, guide them to become a professional engineer. We want them to be successful in their career. And this professional engineer also provides you opportunities, career opportunities, business opportunities. It gives you a title, IR, as a status. And some of the industry and academic nowadays requires an engineer to must have an IR in order for you to be eligible to provide your service. And it gives you a power. With the IR, you have a power. I would like to quote from the Spider-Man's Marvel's movie: with great power comes great responsibility. Okay, so enjoy the power. It gives you a responsibility. You feel someone, you feel important. And this is also a motivation for you to continue to learn, because with the IR, you must continuously learn. We have a CPD, continuous professional development. Every year you need to enroll yourself into something. You need to learn, enhance your knowledge, so that you are continuously learning. It's a lifelong process. So this is actually positive. And with all these responsibilities, power, and title you have, you can easily contribute to the society. Okay. I put the two diagrams here. One is a sports car, performance car. Another is a bus, public transport. If you ask me what is this to do with this? If you have a professional engineer status, it's like you're having a sports car. You have the license, you have the power, you have the title, you can contribute, you have more remuneration. You decide whenever you want to go, how fast you want to go, where you want to go. It's all up to you. If you are asking me, if someone doesn't pursue the professional engineer status, just be a normal graduate engineer for throughout their life, they just want to be a normal engineer, what happened to them? They are like they have to wait for people. They have to work with people. They cannot open up their own companies. They don't have the power. They don't have the remuneration chances, for higher chances. They don't have the title. They don't need to continue to learn. So it is akin like taking a public transport. You have to wait for the time. You have to climb on. You cannot ask the driver to go wherever you want. You need to find the bus. You need to find the company which is suit to you. So this is the comparison, I would say. So with that, I would like to tell the audience, please own your future. You have the future in front of you. Please make the right decision to be the right place, which gonna give you a better status, better elevation in the society, and gives you a satisfaction. Okay. Thank you. I would like to end my talk on at this slide. Back to you, moderator.
Thank you, Dr. Mubarak. I guess I don't have to ask you the final question, because the final question is, can you survive without being a professional engineer? So it's like whether you want to ride a bus or you want to go with a Ferrari.
Exactly.
Okay.
I don't like Ferrari. I don't like Ferrari.
Oh, what would you like?
I like Aston Martin. I have one Aston Martin in my office.
Oh, okay. Oh, in your office. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the session. But before that, I have one question each external speaker then, because Dr. Mubarak has already answered the question. I got one question for Puan Manizawati and Prof. Hanifa. To Puan Manizawati, what is the biggest challenge in dealing with civil engineering students? Apa yang challenge yang terbesar sekali nak handle budak-budak anak awam ni basically?
As you know, student di Politeknik is dia punya kemasukan dia sederhana. Dia qualification SPM. Dia bukan tak terlalu pandai kan.
Yeah.
So apa yang kita nak kena handle adalah we must make sure the student must enter from the semester 1 sampai semester 6 tu go with the right path. Maksudnya our lecturer lah must guide them supaya betul-betul pergi ke arah yang maksudnya graduate on time ke, ataupun at least dia habiskan dia study. Itu adalah sebenarnya cabaran yang besar lah, sebab dibandingkan dengan student di universiti lah, sebab kemasukan kami qualificationnya agak sederhana kan. Selain daripada itu, untuk menambah added value kepada student, we have some like bagi banyak perkara elemen elective seperti skill certificates macam BIM, project management, ataupun quality assessment like quality training, quality training. Kita ada bagi student, and also we go to the real project with the communities like Polyhome, Touchpoint, CSR with community supaya student nampak dia bukan belajar theoretical saja tapi on practical side dia orang tahu. Jadi win-win situation dia orang nampak dua-dua sekali. Supaya bila dia orang keluar dia tahu macam mana nak hands on perkara-perkara macam ni lah. Rasanya itulah sebenarnya. Dan sebenarnya saya minat tadi dia sentuh pasal communication skill. Sebenarnya memang masalah communication skill ni memang menjadi satu perkara yang dari dah lama sebenarnya. Kami cuba nak perbaiki sebab kita boleh lihat when they present on presentation final project. Writing and presenting tu memang agak lemah. So what we did adalah bagi dia seminar sebengkel untuk dia menambah baik lah. And ada juga kita buat satu guideline, buku panduan supaya dia orang at least for the diploma holder dia tahu macam mana nak build up the project final yang betul lah. Supaya and then with the sambung degree dia tahu dia tak terkejut. Sebenarnya that is the standard yang perlu dia ikut. Macam itulah sebenarnya.
Okay. Terima kasih. Prof Hanifah, there's a question here. What is the future of civil engineering jobs? I think you have answered. Maybe you can just briefly mention again.
Like I said earlier, Prof, the future is always there. Like what I think Dr. Mubarak also said, civil engineering started from the ancient days, is still here. And I believe it will be still there. For example, Malaysia, we have this 2050 plan. There's a lot of things planned for year 2050. There's a lot of corridor projects. There's so many. So there's always a future. But I think what lacks is the civil engineer today. I mean, many of the engineers who graduate now, I find them, they lack the right attitudes and aptitudes. When I say attitude and aptitude, I think the current young engineers, they are intelligent. They can do mathematics, science, apa ni semua, calculator, computing, very good. But I think they lack the aspiration and the passion to actually grow. So if you look at the olden days engineers, they take their job very seriously. So I think these are part of the interpersonal skills probably is lacking in today's students. So if they come out as an all-rounder, engineering base is the fundamentals are important, but I think to survive and to actually develop, they need these real interpersonal skills. I shared some just now, communication, financials. Otherwise, they will be drowned in today's world.
Yeah, that's right.
Previously, we were actually very traditional. If you're an engineer, your job is this. But today, the engineer has to be an all-rounder. So the interpersonal skills, the attitude, aptitude is very, very crucial. And the future is bright for them. Otherwise, they'll be frustrated in the first, second year, third year, and then they start driving Grabs. They start taking off other jobs. But they must face the challenge. And the right place for engineers, I believe, is to join the smaller firms. Smaller firms, you got to do everything. Bigger firms, you are actually you do design, you only do design. You do planning, you do planning. If you join a smaller firm, you got no choice. You have to go and do your presentation yourself. You have to meet the authorities yourself. You have to solve the site problem yourself. So the learning curve will be much better. So after a few years on the ground job, then they can join multinationals and so on.
Great advice. You mentioned about passion. I think passion is also an important factor in civil engineering graduates. Dr. Mubarak, we have two questions from the floor from our audience. Can you answer them?
I'll try my best.
One is I got the question. I've already WhatsApp you the question. What you teach on offer to polytechnic students that they can also find in other local universities. Scholarships for diploma students undertaking degree courses other than the scholarship from the government bodies.
I see. Okay. So the question is what the question is. I would like to rephrase. What UTP can offer to polytechnic students that they cannot find. They means the students cannot find in any other local universities. That's a very good question. It's out of the box because we try to put ourselves as unique. All right. I would say UTP, we try to differentiate. We try to be unique compared to other universities, local universities, I would say. And in what sense? Couple of those. Firstly, I would say, as I presented in my slide just now, we have the longest internship period, 7 months. No any other universities in Malaysia have this long of internship period. Plus, ours is like very structured. We provide a program, and the student must go through this program with the host company, assistant from the host company, and we monitor the progress and their growth with the host company as well. So this, I would say, is the first very important factor. Number two, I would say we bring in a lots of adjunct lecturers from the industry. We have the hedge here because we are Petronas sister companies, and we have a very good industry linkages, I would say, not only from oil and gas, also from the normal civil and structural background per se. We have linkages with Mohiba Engineering, Gamoda, uh, Inda Water, and many other companies. So this actually doesn't happen in a normal setting of universities, which are more towards academic. Of course, they would have some adjunct lectureship and everything, but not as cruel. I mean, like as a big role that we play. We always actively engage the adjunct lecturer to come in and to share, and we even have a linkages with them to send our students for research purposes and even academic purposes. They come and share and these sort of things. I would say this is number two. Number three, I would say we have a very good facility which other universities probably lack of, because we have a very, alhamdulillah, we have a very good support from our mother company, Petronas, which has provided us a very good campus, which has lots of good facilities, lab facilities, in situ testing facilities, and even if some of the facilities we don't have at the moment with us, especially like computing facilities, we can always engage with our collaborators, link our networks, to work with them, to collaborate with them, to ensure the students experience this seamless, continuous education and facilities. So these three, I would say, as which put us in a unique spot compared to many other universities in Malaysia and so on. And our student exchange programs with many other countries, we have a target to achieve 100% students exchange by 2025, if I'm not mistaken. So it means that all students in some way, some form, they must experience exchange. They go to any competition, they go to any cultural exchange, or even a research or academic internship. In many ways, we try to have this student experience in a global environment. So these actually, I would say, are the unique points which only available at UTP. Is there any other question, Prof. Shah?
Shak, your mic.
Oh, my mic again. The scholarship.
Oh, the scholarship. Oh, yeah. Of course, we are a private institution, but we are among the cheapest private institution in a private institution per se. And we understand nowadays the economic situation, some students are having difficulty to obtain funding and everything. So we try to help our future students by providing them with lots of opportunities in terms of zakat, Yayasan Universiti Teknologi Petronas, But in order for the students to able to apply for these, to get the opportunities, they must enroll in the first semester. Then they are eligible, and we will help them to apply for all these facilities. And of course, good students, we always encourage them to target the external funding, Petronas, Mara, or even big companies, Gamuda, Maybank, Saimdabi, etc. So we always help our students in terms of financial.
All right, thank you, Dr. Mubarak, and I would like to thank the speakers as well for coming today to this online session. And I think we have points by all three speakers that we can use for future endeavors by our graduates. And one thing that is common is we talk about communication skills, which is very important. That's why we have our theater group as well. We have our own very theater group in UTP, and we have won awards, international as well as local. And this is basically an important aspect, because those acting are not theater students, they are engineering students, including civil engineering students, and this enhances their communication skills and public speaking as well. All right, so we have come to an end to our Q&A session, and once again I would like to thank all the honorable speakers for today on answering the questions. Alhamdulillah, and thank you Muhammad Hanifah, Puan Manizawati, and Dr. Mubarak. We have learned a lot via our forum today on civil engineering future. I would like to express my gratitude to the organizer as well for their organizing the session and for the interesting talk, and to the audiences for their participation. Hopefully this forum will be beneficial to everyone, especially for the school leavers. And okay, so that's all for today. Alhamdulillah, thank you. Assalamualaikum. And over to you, Arvin.
Salam.
Thank you, Prof. Shak. Thank you, Puan Manisawati. Thank you, Ayat, Muhammad Hanif. Thank you, Dr. Mubarak as well, and also Dr. Basha. The forum would like to say a very big thank you to all our speakers and also our moderator, Prof. Shak, for the amazing sharing session with so much of knowledge to bring along with us. Once again, a very big thank you to all of you, especially to our speakers and also our moderator. With that, I would like to end the forum and event here today with a very big thank you to everyone that has took part and also attended the forum. I hope that all of us can take something from today and cherish it as always, and a lot of knowledge that has been poured for us here today. Thank you, and I hope to have another great session sometime soon. Take care and bye-bye.
Okay.
Thank you to all.
Okay, thank you everyone.
Bye-bye.
Hope to have another
Bye-bye.
session.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.